members to come in, your choice.
No. We will have to start on time.
We don't look at the members, we look at the time.
Yeah, we look at the time only. Correct. So I will be sharing the screen now. Then. You can see my screen, right? I think it is already 11:30, 11 o'clock. So it's time for us to start.
Are you?
Yeah, exactly 11. Okay, so let us get started without much ado. So welcome everybody to the 7th session of the online Gita, Parayan and Satsang for 2024. This is a session we are having after his Navratri just last week and week before that. And also Sharad Purnima, which happened just 2 days ago. Today is a Dvidiya, so 2 days ago was Sharad Purnima. This Navratri is very auspicious for the Shaktiya, Devi worship and all that. And the Sharad Purnima is also interesting, important for Vaishnava traditions. And it is believed that in the most esoteric episode of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Rasa Leela said to have happened on this the day of Sharad Purnima. So it happened. It was the commemoration day was just 2 days ago. And it is believed that on this, to participate in this divine dance form, Lord Shiva himself took the form of what is called as Gopishwara Mahadeva. And this Purnami is also very auspicious for, Shaktiya and Devi worship and all that. And what is even more interesting is Valmiki Jayanti was also is on the same day. So this week is a very interesting and auspicious week.
Yes,
so this year we are doing this full chanting of the Gita over 9 sessions, and we are chanting the full chapters in each session. Today we are doing chapters 13, 14, and 15, and altogether 81 verses. So every verse will be chanted. Will be repeated by another lead chanter to facilitate learning proper chanting by everybody. We plan to complete the full 18 chapters before the actual Gita Jayanti day this year on the 11th of December. By the grace of Lord Krishna. So today we have welcome address, and the guest of honor for today will be Mr. Shri K.V. Rao ji, and session talk first today will be by Brinda Karanam. And today, this session is being live streamed on Facebook and YouTube as always. And you can access the session on the Gita Jayanti's YouTube channel as well as Facebook channel at any time in the future. And also the Zoom call will be muted for all participants except the lead chanters and the co-hosts to avoid disturbances. All participants can unmute themselves after the Q&A session and when the questions to the speaker can be asked in person. With humble prostrations to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and all the Guru Paramparas as well as all the devotees of the Lord. So let's get started. Okay. Meanwhile, let me just unmute. Yeah. Okay, Padmini, we'll get started with the invocation verses, and this will be done by Padmini.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunatu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam dhyaye sarvavighnopashantaye Saraswati namastubhyam Varade kamarupini Vidyarambham karishyami Siddhirbhavatu me sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलं स्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्.
Thank you so much, Padmini. And now we have the our guest of honor for today. Welcome address by Sri K.V. Rao ji. He's very familiar to all of us as the president of CFAS as well as Sri Aurobindo Society. But he is also a very important and senior business leader based in Singapore. And he was the former resident director of Tata Sons based in Singapore, and has held several board and business leadership positions in his career of maybe 4 decades or plus 4+ decades. He's a senior accredited director of the Singapore Institute of Directors and has held significant international experience covering over 40 countries in the developed as well as emerging markets with a focus on Asia. His experience covers consumer, industrial, and services sectors, and with a stint also in the Singapore civil service. He is currently serves as chairman and director of leading companies in Singapore, and is also advisor to large corporations in Singapore. Currently serves a number of public bodies and industry platforms, including the board of directors of Singapore Institute of International Affairs, the board of trustees for the Singapore Indian Development Association, SINDA. Actually, he's going for a meeting just after this for the SINDA meeting, and vice chairman of the South Asian Business Council of Singapore, etc., etc. So he's a very important business personality of Singapore. And he's also very president of Sri Aurobindo Society and CFAS. And he's a keen and perceptive intellectual, as we all know, and deeply spiritual with an in-depth knowledge of philosophy of Sri Aurobindo, as well as other Indic philosophies. And he's a very avid lover of arts, especially the classical arts, being the president of CFAS. And with great happiness, I request Sri Raoji to deliver his welcome address. Over to Raoji, please.
Good morning, Mr. Srinivasan and my good friend Krishna Kumar. I appreciate the love and affection you have for me. But on this morning, I would like to find a way to perhaps delete and erase all that you have said. And just remember that I've been a student of Sri Aurobindo Ashram in Pondicherry, where I spent my early childhood. And I'm just proud of that. And I'm a retired person. I try to be relevant where I can. I have some insight, and having been brought up in a place which breathes spiritual air in Pondicherry, in the ashram, there is a leaning. But my knowledge will fade away against many of you who are so deeply involved in the practice of our traditions, our Vedic heritage. And this morning, firstly, let me compliment all the organizers of the Gita Jayanti. You see, over a few years, the generations change. I know the first generation who set this up, Mr. K.S. Raja and many others who thought this was the right thing to do. And it's quite amazing in Singapore that it is continuing with such a vigor, such a passion, and such a strength, with next to next generation too, as if I may say, which gives me tremendous delight. I would have actually been very happy to sit and listen to this young lady who's going to speak to you today. I read her profile and I was super impressed. And I will see how I can listen to it, though if I'm somewhere outside, because at a very young age, she seems to have mastered so much. And it's a blessing of the Lord that from the age of 4, she has learned Sanskrit and she's well versed in the scriptures. Now, coming to the subject that you're trying to cover today, recitation and Parayan has a certain magic of its own. And I will only say that in the form of a japa, or when you recite some of these magical lines of any scripture, I'm only restating what the Master Sri Aurobindo said. It has a certain impact on the consciousness. You do not have to follow, you do not have to understand, but it is a form of invoking and bringing down into the room, into the person, when you utter and read together and recite together a certain shloka. It has its own effect and its own magic of vibrations, because it was not just the meaning, but also the sound effect of it. And with my interest in the area of music, if you see, it is often said that a particular word or a sentence or a shloka has to be recited in a certain manner, in a certain way, because when you do that, it has a huge impact on the person who's reciting and the person who's hearing. In the tradition of the music, in Samaveda, it is said that the Vedic words, each one has a certain notation. And when you ring that note, some magic does happen in the whole environment of it. So, firstly, congratulations that you're all going to be collectively reading it. I just would like to state one thing, that you have chosen 3 chapters, of which I'm still grappling to understand the depth of those chapters of the Gita. Gita is like an ocean. And, if you look at all the oceans in the world, it is not enough in terms of knowledge and insight that the book of Gita gives you. But they say that if you go to the Pacific Ocean, you find the deepest points upon earth, Those 3 deepest points in the ocean are actually the chapter 13, 14, and 15. I don't think there is anything more profound than that subject. And I think one lifetime is not sufficient to be able to really get this complete sense. But in fact, wading in that depth will give you some delight. It'll open up some aspects to you. So I often, again, go back to my old Pondicherry and Aurobindo Ashram's training. You don't try to read a book to understand necessarily. You read a book or a scripture to experience just the reading of it. In a similar way, let's not struggle to understand everything and anything into this little mind of ours, which has been created by the Lord in a certain design format. The IC structure in this has been so designed that you will not be able to understand unless you have the experience of it. So one has to look for the experience of it. And I think the chapter number 1, which we are looking at, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, which is the chapter 13, is actually the combination of opposites, The physical being that you are and the inner being that resides within you, you do not know each other in the sense of the way you need to know. And that is why you have Purusha, Prakriti, the whole syntax of that whole subject is dealt with in the first this chapter of the field, and Sri Aurobindo calls it the field and its knower. It's a beautiful, beautiful way. The field is the subject, the human being. The knower is one who resides within. And how do you bridge that and bring that out? It is all about self-awareness. It is about self-realization and going deep within oneself to realize that it exists and it is very much there for you to touch, feel, and experience. That is the first door that opens to that deep journey. The second one, which you have taken up, which is a division of the 3 gunas, which is the chapter 14, is about, the sattva, the rajas, the tamas. We are all coming with all of it. And, Sri Aurobindo says, man is a work in progress. He's not yet complete. But who is going to complete that progress? It is the man who has to do. And the divine is up there to help you and lift you, provided you are willing to invest and work towards, that transformation. And that word transformation has been used extensively by our master. And here is this whole delightful journey that Sri Krishna takes you as to what are the origins of the mind, what are the origins of the matter, how are we made, how is this whole thing been created, what are the gunas, and how do we sort of deal with them. That is the second one. But the most profound and the deepest of deep, before that, you go to the Vishwarupa Darshanam, it is the Purushottama Yoga, which is the number 15, which is all about the supreme divine. And here is where Sri Krishna reveals the glories of God that shine all around the world. And how do we realize his existence? And then he talks about the three elements in that. One is Kshar, the other is Akshar, and then Purushottama. One is perishable beings. We are all their part in this material world. And the liberated beings, who are the Akshar, are those who live in the abode of God and the supreme divine personality, which is eternal and the eternal sustainer of this whole world, is a regulator of the world, and that is Purushottama and the God. So, my dear friends, this morning you have decided to read these 3 chapters and reflect on it. Please be prepared. Please put on your oxygen mask and dive deep into the Pacific Ocean at the depth of the deepest depths you will experience. And if you go with that kind of a passion and with that kind of an interest, I'm sure each one of you will find something in it, and not necessarily a common thing for all of us, because these journeys are individual journeys, and a spiritual journey or looking within and self-awareness through any form, and particularly the Gita, is a revelation of a kind. It reveals itself to you. So it's like said, if I still go back to the same example, if you go into the depth of a Pacific Ocean, what you see will be very different, the color of fishes, than what I see. It will be provided to you by the Almighty based on your need, your swabhava, your requirement, and your personality, and the journey of your own soul. So brace up for a beautiful adventure. I shall try and join you once again a bit later quietly. And thank you very much for being this morning on this very important study of these 3 chapters. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given to me to join you. I wish I had spent the whole morning, but I'm here around with another. Unfortunately, I have to go and give some prizes away at for young people, which I can't deny. So thank you very much. I'm so delighted to see so many beautiful faces of people who are my friends here. Thank you so much. Keep the spirit of the Gita going. That's the most important thing in Singapore. Gives me great joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rao Saab, for those beautiful words, and especially the idea that the importance of the experience in listening itself fully and completely and immersing in it, and that the experience of the sound itself that is a very important idea, both from the Vedas as well as even the chanting of the various our scriptures. And another very beautiful idea that Rauji was talking about was the man is a work in progress, and the topic of transformation that Sri Aurobindo keeps talking about. So it's a very, very fantastic idea. And I think that's our whole idea of sadhana, the whole idea of all our spiritual efforts are basically towards this transformation process. And then later he talked about this, the 3 Purushas, the Kshara Purusha, the Akshara Purusha, and the Purushottama. So the 15th chapter is talking about the Purushottama, which is, as he rightly said, is one of the most important chapters. And I think Bhavarata Deepika, that is Jnaneshwari, basically has only, I think, ends with 15th chapter, I think, yeah, or something like that. So the importance is so important, even though it's it's the shortest chapter, along with chapter 12, it's the shortest chapter, but it's deep. Like, I think the Mariana Trench is what Rauji was talking about, right? In Pacific Ocean, the deepest portion of the on Earth is called Mariana Trench in the Pacific. So that is what he was talking about. If you are trying to dive into such deep depths of human experience. Thank you once again, Rao Saab. So please do join. You can always listen to the thing in our YouTube channel as well as Facebook channel in case you want to listen to it later. So now we will get back to our rest of the procedures for today. And let me. So we start the program for today with the Gita Dhyanam. The Dhyanam will be the invocation of the Bhagavad Gita itself. So this will be by Padmaniji. Over to Padmaniji, please.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനീം അംബ ത്വാമനുസന്ദധാമി ഭഗവദ്ഗീതേ ഭവദ്വേഷിണീം നമോസ്തുതേ വ്യാസവിശാലബുദ്ധേ പുല്ലാരവിന്ദായതപത്രനേത്ര യേന ത്വയാ ഭാരതതൈലപൂർണഃ പ്രജ്വാലിതോ ജ്ഞാനമയഃ പ്രദീപഃ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजना गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः.
Thank you so much, Padmaniji, for that beautiful chanting of the invocatory verses, Gita Dhyanam. So now we get into the actual Bhagavad Gita Parayan itself. So we will start with 13 and we'll also cover 14 and 15. So altogether covering 81 verses in this session. The meanings, as you can see in each of these slides which are being there, the meanings of each verse is also there, given by the various great masters of commentators, great commentators on the Bhagavad Gita. And you can also understand try to understand the meaning of what is being chanted while it's being chanted. So every verse will be repeated by another lead chanter so that we can understand and appreciate how to chant properly also. Okay, now over to the actual chanting itself. So this first verse of chapter 13 is, many of the texts do not contain this verse. So we will, and especially the Gita Press version doesn't contain this Arjuna Uvacha, this verse. So we will go directly to the Sri Bhagavan Uvacha verse onwards. So this, over to Patniji, please.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः श्री भगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः।
श्री भगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तत्विदः।
क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयो ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम।
क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम।
तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारि यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु।
तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारि यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु।
ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः।
ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः।
महाभूतान्यहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकञ्च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः।
महाभूतान्यहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकञ्च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः।
इच्छा द्वेषः सुखं दुःखं संघातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारमुदाहृतम्।
इच्छा द्वेष सुखं दुःखं संघातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारमुदाहृतम्।
अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः।
अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः।
इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्।
इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्।
असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु।
असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु
मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि
मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि
अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा
अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा
ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते
ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति
सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति
सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च
सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च
बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तदविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत्
बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरञ्चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तदविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत्
अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तमिव च स्थितं भूतभर्तृ च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णुप्रभविष्णु च
अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तमिव च स्थितं भूतभर्तृ च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णुप्रभविष्णु च ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्
ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादि उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृतिसम्भवान्
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादि उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृतिसम्भवान्
कार्यकरणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते।
कार्यकरणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते। पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते।
पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु।
पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु।
उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः।
उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः।
य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते।
य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते।
ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे।
ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे।
अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः।
अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः।
यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमं क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तत्विद्धि भरतर्षभ।
यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमं क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ।
समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति।
समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्त्वं यः पश्यति स पश्यति।
समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरं न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिम्।
समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरं न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिम्।
प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति।
प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति।
यदा भूतपृथग्भावम् एकस्थमनुपश्यति तत एव च विस्तारम् ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा।
यदा भूतपृथग्भावम् एकस्थमनुपश्यति तत एव च विस्तारम् ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा।
अनादित्वान् निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायमव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते।
अनादित्वात् निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायमव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते।
यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशन्नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते।
यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते। यथा प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकमिमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत।
यथा प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकमिमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत।
क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्।
क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्।
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगो नाम त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। अथ चतुर्दशोऽध्यायः गुणत्रयविभागयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच परं भूयः प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमम् यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिमितो गताः।
श्रीभगवानुवाच परं भूयः प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमं यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिमितो गताः।
इदं ज्ञानमुपाश्रित्य मम साधर्म्यमागताः सर्गेऽपि नोपजायन्ते प्रलयेन व्यथन्ति च।
इदं ज्ञानमुपाश्रित्य मम साधर्म्यमागताः सर्गेऽपि नोपजायन्ते प्रलयेन व्यथन्ति च।
मम यो निर्महद्ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं दधाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत।
मम यो निर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत।
सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तयः सम्भवन्ति याः तासां ब्रह्म महद्योनिः अहं बीजप्रदः पिता।
सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तयः सम्भवन्ति याः तासां ब्रह्म महत् योनिः अहं बीजप्रदः पिता।
सत्त्वं रजस्तम इति गुणाः प्रकृतिसम्भवाः निबध्नन्ति महाबाहो देहे देहिनमव्ययम्
सत्त्वं रजस्तम इति गुणाः प्रकृतिसम्भवाः निबध्नन्ति महाबाहो देहे देहिनमव्ययम्
तत्र सत्त्वं निर्मलत्वात् प्रकाशकमनामयम् सुखसङ्गेन बध्नाति ज्ञानसङ्गेन चानघ
तत्र सत्त्वन्निर्मलत्वात् प्रकाशकमनामयम् सुखसङ्गेन बध्नाति ज्ञानसङ्गेन चानघ
रजोरागात्मकं विद्धि तृष्णासङ्गसमुद्भवम् तन्निबध्नाति कौन्तेय कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनम्
रजो रागात्मकं विद्धि तृष्णासङ्गसमुद्भवम् तन्निबध्नाति कौन्तेय कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनम्
तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत
तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत
सत्त्वं सुखे सञ्जयति रजः कर्मणि भारत ज्ञानमावृत्य तु तमः प्रमादे सञ्जयत्युत
सत्त्वं सुखे सञ्जयति रजः कर्मणि भारत ज्ञानमावृत्य तु तमः प्रमादे सञ्जयत्युत
रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्त्वं भवति भारत रजः सत्त्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्त्वं रजस्तथा
रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्त्वं भवति भारत रजः सत्त्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्त्वं रजस्तथा
सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत
सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत
लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमः स्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभा
लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमस्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभ
अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तमस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन
अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तमस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन
यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमविदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते
यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमविदान् लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते रजसि प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते
रजसि प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते
कर्मणः सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम्
कर्मणः सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम्
सत्त्वात् सञ्जायते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादमोहौ तमसः भवतो ज्ञानमेव च
सत्त्वात् सञ्जायते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादमोहौ तमसः भवतो ज्ञानमेव च
ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः
ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः
नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति
नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति
गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखै विमुक्तोऽमृतमश्नुते
गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखै विमुक्तोऽमृतमश्नुते
अर्जुन उवाच कैर्लिङ्गैः स्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथं चैतान् त्रीन् गुणानतिवर्तते
अर्जुन उवाच कैर्लिङ्गैः स्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथं चैतान् त्रीन् गुणानतिवर्तते
श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहमेव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति
श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहमेव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति
उदासीनवदासीनः गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इत्येव योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते
उदासीनवदासीनः गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इत्येव योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते
समदुःखः सुखः स्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः
समदुःखसुखस्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः
मानापमानयोस्तुल्यः तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते
मानापमानयोस्तुल्यः तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते
माञ्चयो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते
मां च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते
ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहं अमृतस्याव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च
ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्याव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च।
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे गुणत्रयविभागयोगो नाम चतुर्दशोऽध्यायः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। अथ पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः पुरुषोत्तमयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्।
अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखाः गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके।
अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखाः गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके।
न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा।
न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा। ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी।
अतः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी।
निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्।
निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्।
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम।
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम।
ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति।
ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति।
शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्
शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्
श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते
श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते
उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः
उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानः नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मयवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानः नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः
यदादित्यगतं तेजः जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्
यदादित्यगतं तेजः जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्
गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधीः सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः
गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधीः सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः
अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम्
अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम्
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टः मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम्
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टः मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम्
द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते
द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते
उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्त्वव्यय ईश्वरः
उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्त्यव्यय ईश्वरः
यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः
यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः
यो मामेवमसम्मूढः जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत
यो मामेवमसम्मूढः जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत
इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत
इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे पुरुषोत्तमयोगो नाम पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्.
Oh, that is beautiful chanting by all our wonderful lead chanters. We'll introduce them just after this Mahatmya Parayan also. And the verses in the slides which are shown earlier, the meanings were given by the great commentators of Bhagavad Gita from various generations, from Swami Chimyananda ji, as well as Swami Dayananda, Swami Gambhirananda, George Feuerstein, Swami Videshwarananda, Ekanadishwaran, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, Swami Rama, Yuvan Maskarao, and Dr. A.G. Krishnavarya, who's commenting on Adi Shankara's Bhagavad Shankara Bhashya, and Swami Mukundananda, Shivananda, etc. So basically, it covers a wide variety of viewpoints from modernistic, academic, to Western, to Eastern, to deeply from the most ancient of the scripture of the commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, that is by Bhagavad himself. So now, after this, we will move to Gita Mahatmyam, the glories of the of chanting the Gita itself. This will be done by Vinodini ji.
अथ गीता माहात्म्यं गीताशास्त्रमिदं पुण्यं यः पठेत् प्रयतः पुमान् विष्णोः पदनमाप्नोति भयशोकादिवर्जितः गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीतांभसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनं गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता भारतामृतसर्वस्वं विष्णोर्वक्त्राद्विनिसृतं गीता गङ्गोदकं पीत्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्.
Hariom. Thank you so much, Vinodriji, as well as all other wonderful chanters. So before we move over to the next session, let me spotlight all the elite chanters we had. So first we had Lata ji. First was Padmini ji. So let me spotlight Padmini ji so that everybody can see her. So this Padmini ji here, and now we have Lata ji. Lata ji is here. Let me spotlight her. This is Lata ji. And now let me spotlight Ashutosh ji. This Ashutosh here. Next we have Uma ji is, I think, not to be seen. Okay, never mind. So we will have Vinodini ji. Namaste, Vinodini ji.
Namaste. Umaji is there actually.
Oh, is it true? Okay,
Yeah.
great. We'll go next. Okay.
Namaste.
Namaste. I didn't see her. Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, this is Umaji here. So all the wonderful chanters, so all chanted so beautifully today, as always. So thank you so much once again. So now we move over to the next segment. That is actually the talk segment for today. So this will be by Srimati Brinda Karanamji. So let me tell a few things about her so that everybody can understand. She was only Dr. K.V. Rauji was talking about. She has basically pursued her study of Sanskritam, Bhagavad Gita, and various stotras under the tutelage of revered her guru Anantalakshmi Natarajan. Anantam Matha, and she started her journey at the tender age of 4 in Gita Govinda Samskrita Sangha, founded by her guru, and was mentored by her guru for close to 3 decades. So basically, she has 30 years of tutelage under her guru, and she has been involved in teaching Bhagavad Gita, slokas, and Samskrita for about 20 years. And she has trained students for various Sanskrit courses and exams conducted by Sri Sura Saraswati Sabha and Samskrita Bharati and Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. And she has participated in a number of classical plays, including Mukta Kundalam, Jivan Mukti Kalyanam, Sakhyam, Kathomarishad, and Gitobadesha. So she has also done performed or participated in a Sanskrit play on Gitobadesha itself. Brindaji is a course facilitator and a consultant at Sanskrit from Home for the Vyoma Labs. She has offered courses in Sanskrit chanting courses, including Bhagavad Gita, Sri Raghuvira Gadyam, Saundarlahari, Venkatesha Suprabhadam, and currently she's offering a course on Shivananda Lahari. Srimati Brinda is a lawyer, arbitrator, and accredited mediator, a graduate of the National Law School of India University, Bangalore, and she holds a BCL degree from University of Oxford, UK, and LLM degree from the University of Pennsylvania Law School in the USA. So she's a very accomplished person, as K.V. Rauji was saying, and she stands for one of the most beautifully Bhagavad Gita that I know. And now let us hand over the screen to Brindaji. Brindaji, would you like to please unmute yourself? Would you like to have the screen? I think anyway you are the co-host, so you can actually share your presentation materials. So wonderful to have you here.
हरि ओम् धन्यवादाः महोदय गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुल्लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्.
Vinodji, we have about 30 minutes. So before 12:45, it'll be nice if you could, because there is shortage of time.
Sure, Mahodaya, I will try my best to do so. Namastabhayai Sabhapatibhyascha. My Hritpurvaka pranams to all the Jnana Vriddhas, Sheela Vriddhas, Vayo Vriddhas here, with the blessings of my gurus and all the elders. will attempt to share a few thoughts from what my gurus have taught me and from what I have read on the 3 chapters, that is the 13th, 14th and 15th chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogaha, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogaha and Purushottama Yogaha. Now, from the 13th chapter starts what we call the Jnana Shatkam or Charma Shatkam of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As we all know, the first 6 chapters are called the Karma Shatkam. 1 to 6, 7 to 12, they predominantly deal with Upasana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. And 13 to 18, they are known as the Jnana Shatkam. However, this does not mean that they are watertight compartments, because we see the same themes of Brahma Vidya and Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga flowing through all the chapters of the Gita. So we have to consider it as a whole and not these shatkams as strictly separate from one another. Now, the subject of inquiry in the 13th chapter, as the name itself suggests, is Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So a few versions of the Gita have the first verse, which is a question by Arjuna, where he asks Krishna, Prakritim, Purusham, Kshetram, Kshetrajnam, Jnanam, Jneyam. So these 6 concepts. Etat veditum ichhami Keshava. So in response to the question of Arjuna, a few versions directly start from Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Bhagavan first takes up the subject of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. However, we will see that how the certain concepts are essentially the same. So here Bhagavan says, Idam Shariram Kshetram iti abhidhiyate. So this body is called the Kshetram, the field, or very loosely translated matter. So many words in Sanskritam do not have exact translations in English. So whatever words we try to translate, whatever words we use in English are the closest we can use. So very broadly speaking, the Kshetram can be translated as field or matter. And etat yaha veti, the one who knows this field, is called Kshetrajna, or the consciousness principle. Tadvidaha, knowers of the truth. They know the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So here, a very clear explanation is given by Bhagavad Padacharya, Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya, in his Bhashyam. So when I went through the meaning, I thought the best way is to read from the Bhashyam itself, because no other explanation would be as clear and as succinct as Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya has given. So just to refer to the Bhashyam in this verse, he says, Idam iti, the word idam, sarvanamna uktam vishinashti shariram iti. So this idam, this word is referring to the shariram, the kshetra. He kaunteya, kshatatranat kshayat ksharanat kshetravat va asmin karma phala nishpattehe kshetram iti shabdah. Evam shabda padarthakah kshetram iti evam abhidhiyate kathyate. So Bhagavad Padacharya is giving 3 clear reasons why the word kshetram is used by Bhagavan. So the first reason is kshatatranat. So the body, this field, protects from misery or injury. So this body is a means to perform dharma, is a means to also liberate the soul, to attain that supreme sthiti, the Brahma Jnanam, and to liberate the soul from this cycle of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. So this body is an instrument for that. So it saves us from misery. Therefore, Kshatatranat, Kshayat, Kshiyate, that which reduces, or that which diminishes, or that which perishes. So it is material, mutable, transitory, perishable. Therefore, the second reason it is called Kshetra. As we know, Bhagavan says in the 2nd chapter, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinnati naroparani. So the Dehi, the Jiva, gives up the body. It goes through Jara, Maranam, and then attains a new body. So Kshayat, that is the second reason given by Acharya Shankara. And the third reason is Kshetravat. So it is like a field. So how is it a field? As we sow the seeds in a field and reap the crop, or if we sow the seeds and later we have the trees or plants growing, in the same way, the karma we perform in this field, it generates papa and punya, which determines the future births. So there is a very famous subhashitam. Sukhasya dukkhasya nakopi data paro dadati iti buddhiresha aham karomiti vrithabhimanaha swakarma sutra grathito hi lokaha. So this entire world is bound by the sutra or the thread of one's own karma. So we sow the seeds of karma through this kshetram. Therefore, there are three reasons Bhagavan gives, Bhagavad Padacharya gives, why Bhagavan has used the word kshetram. And the kshetrajna is nothing but the consciousness principle. Bhagavan himself who resides in this kshetra. And the next verse is a very important verse for which Bhagavad Padacharya has written an extensive commentary because it contains a Mahavakyam itself. Kshetrajnam Mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata. So in all the kshetras, in all the fields, Bhagavan declares that he himself is the kshetrajna. So this is a Mahavakyam because it gives us the same meaning as the other Mahavakyas like Aham Brahmasmi, Tattatvamasi, Ayamatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. And Bhagavan further says that the real knowledge is this knowledge of the field and the field knower, that is Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Then Bhagavan proceeds to say how this knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajna has been expounded by seers in many ways. Rishibhihi Bahudha Gitam. And it has also been explained in the Vedas, Chandobhihi, Brahma Sutra Padaihi. So in the Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, and now in the Bhagavad Gita, which is an essence of the Upanishads, this knowledge of the Kshetra and Kshetrajna has been expounded. And then Bhagavan in this chapter succinctly describes the constituents of the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna. So the 24 principles he goes on to describe in the fifth verse, that is the 5 elements, the ego, the intellect, buddhi or mahat tattva, the unmanifest primordial matter, the 10 organs of perception and action, and the 5 objects of senses. So all these put together, the 24 padarthas form a part of kshetra. Similarly, ichha, desire, dveshaha, antipathy, sukham, pleasure, dukkham, pain, sanghata, the physical body, chetana, consciousness, firmness, dhritihi, etat samasena kshetram. So very briefly, this is called kshetra. Then Bhagavan describes from 7th to 11th verse, very important verses. And these were emphasized by my guru multiple times. She would make us chant these verses multiple times, some of the verses, and these also form those verses which she would make us repeat many times, which speak of certain gunas, which are jnana itself. Basically, these are the gunas necessary to understand that jnanam of kshetra and kshetrajna. So let us briefly go through what these are. Amanitvam, humility. Adambhitvam, simplicity. Ahimsa, non-violence. Kshantihi, forbearance. Arjavam, uprightness. Acharyopasanam, service to Acharya. Sthiryam, steadfastness. Vinigraha, self-control. Now, Amanitvam, if we go through these gunas in 7 to 11 verses, and also see stotrams like Moha Mudgaram of Adi Shankaracharya, in very succinctly he has given us in Moha Mudgaram the very same gunas which we need to inculcate. So Amanitvam, that is not being proud of oneself. And very beautifully Acharya Shankara says, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam harati nimeshat kalas sarvam. Don't be proud of your wealth or your youth or the people or the influence you have. Kala or time can just rob you of all this within a moment. Maya mayamidam akhilam. This and everything is Maya itself. Hitva brahmapadam tvam pravisha viditva. And similarly, for Acharyopasanam, that is service to an Acharya. Now, who is a guru is very beautifully explained by Acharya in Prashnottara Ratnamalika. So, in response to the question of who is a guru, he says, Adhigata Tattvaha Shishya Hitaya Udyatas Satatam. So, everyone can't be gurus. We can have teachers, mentors, but only the one who can remove that ajnana, gukara, andhakara syat, rukaraha, tan nirodhakaha. Only who can remove that ajnana and give us that brahma jnana and take us in that path, only that person is a guru. First of all, that guru should be adhigata tattvaha, should be a realized yogi, realized soul, himself or herself. Shishya hitaya udyata satatam, the one who has only the welfare of the disciple as the prime goal. Only such a person can be an acharya or a guru. And once we surrender to such a guru, it is only through the grace of a guru can one achieve this jnanam. How much ever we may read the scriptures or the bhashyas, ultimately it is only through the grace of a guru that we can achieve this brahma jnanam. So acharyopasanam is supremely important, and like Bhagavad Padacharya concludes in Mohamudgaram, Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha Samsarat Achirat Bhava Muktaha Sendriya Manasa Niyama Devam Drakshyasi Nija Hridayastham Devam. So only with that bhakti towards the feet of a guru can one be able to see that Hridayastham Devam. Then further in the 8th verse, again Bhagavan goes on to describe more of these gunas, which are indriyartheshu vairagyam, detachment from sense objects, anahankaraha, absence of ego, janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. So being aware of the misery of birth, death, old age and disease. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Then he further describes asaktihi, dispassion, that is being detached or non-clinging. Anabhishwangaha putradara grihadishu. So non-identification or not having the excessive feeling of mindness towards children, wife, home, etc. So this doesn't mean that one should not do their duties. Of course, all the scriptures say, including acharyas, whatever has been ordained according to each varnashrama dharma that has to be performed, including grihastha, which is such an important ashrama for sustaining the society, the brahmacharis, the sannyasis, etc. However, one should not have that mamakara towards the wife, children, home, etc. and this excessive attachment. So in the same tattva is explained by Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya again in Mohamudgaram, kastvam koham kuta ayataha kame janani kome tataha iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. This world, all these relationships are like in a dream, and they are all an aspect of Maya. So he urges us to move towards that supreme truth. Kate kanta kaste putraha samsaroyam ativa vichitraha. Kasya tvam, to whom do you belong? Kaha, who are you? Kuta ayataha, from where have you come? Sattvam chintaya yadiha bhrataha. So this actually makes us think the karunyam of Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya. He composed the bhashyams for the Prasthanatrayas, Brahma Sutra, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. Then he gave us Prakarana Granthas. Then he also gave very simple stotras, both describing Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman, for people who are beginners in this Adhyatma Vichara. And even if we understand the tattva of each of the shlokas of this Mohamudgaram, which is in simple Sanskritam, this gives us the same essence of Bhagavad Gita. And it is the opinion of many scholars, Sanskrit scholars and Vidwans, that in terms of the extension, in terms of the expanse of literature given to us by the Acharyas, Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya is unparalleled because he has composed so many works and for different levels of spiritual evolution. Maichananya yogena bhaktiravyabicharini. Further, Bhagavan describes unswerving devotion to Bhagavan with undivided attention. Vivikta desha sevitvam, that is to have some solitary time where you contemplate. So now we all listen to how me time is very important, meditation is important. Though we are in this samsara, we should have some time where we contemplate and meditate. Aratir jana samsadi, indulgence in worldly attachments, or to say in crowds which are committed to worldly attachments. The next verse, again, Bhagavan is continuing to describe these gunas. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam, always fixed in Adhyatma, Tattva jnanartha darshanam, seeing Bhagavan as the object of true knowledge. Etat jnanam. All this is jnanam, these 11 qualities. Ajnanam yadatonyatha. Other than that is ignorance. So one may ask, are these qualities only for a Brahmajnani? These qualities are those which have to be cultivated by all of us who are in the spiritual path, and they also have a lot of practical significance in day-to-day life. So these are the qualities which Bhagavan urges and our gurus urge us to try to inculcate in our very day-to-day lives. Next, Bhagavan goes to speak about Kshetrajna as Jneyam, Purusha, Kshetrajna. All these are the same, which is nothing but the universal consciousness. So the universal consciousness in an embodied form is the Kshetrajna, which reflects the universal consciousness itself. So essentially both are the same. And Sarvataf Panipadam Tat, he says it has hands and feet on all the sides, etc. So this verse essentially means that that consciousness is manifest through all organs, yet free from all organs. This reminds me of a verse from Bhagavatam, where when Dhruva has the darshan, the great bhakta has the darshan of Narayana, he chants Yontaf Pravishya Mama Vacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayati Akhila Shaktidharaha Swadhamna Anyamscha Hasta Charana Shravanatvagadin Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. So what is making these dormant senses, dormant jnanendriyas, karmendriyas active in us is that consciousness principle, that Bhagavan himself. Without that Chaitanya, none of these can work. So, which is why Bhagavan says that he is in the form of all organs, yet he is all pervading, manifesting through the kshetra, yet free from all organs. And a very beautiful verse, which avibhaktam cha bhuteshu. So if we look at space is all expansive and it is undivided. However, when we have, say, a bowl or a room or an enclosure, you have space inside that which seems as though it is enclosed, but actually it is a part of the greater space. Similarly, the sustainer, the creator, is also all pervasive. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam. Though undivided like space, it appears to be divided in all beings. Bhuta bhartr. It is tag jneyam. So that jneyam, that which is to be known, is the sustainer, creator, and consumer. Next verse, Jyotisham api tad jyotihi tamasaf paramuchyate. Jnanam jneyam jnanagavyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. It is the light of all lights and beyond the darkness of ignorance or maya. It is jnanam, knowledge, jneyam, object of knowledge, and jnanagamyam, goal of knowledge. So there is a very beautiful verse by Shankaracharya called Ekashloki. So once when I was in my guru's house, she asked me to light the lamp in the evening and she taught me this verse. So it says, Kim jyotis tava bhanuman ahanime ratrau pradipadikam syadevam ravideepa darshana vidhau kim jyotirakyahi me chakshustasya nimilanadi samaye kim dhir dhiyo darshane Kim tatrahamato bhavan paramakam jyotis tadasmi prabho. This is a conversation between a guru and a shishya. Kim tava jyotihi. What is the source of light to you? Ahani me bhanuman. In the morning it is the sun. Ratrau pradipadikam. At night when the sun, there's no sunlight, it is the lamp, etc. Syadevam. Let it be so. Ravi deepa darshana vidhau kim jyotihi me akhyahi. So when in seeing the lamp and the sun, what is the source? So you have the lamp and the sun, but what is it that makes you see them? Chakshuhu, the eyes. Tasya nimilanadi samaye kim jyotihi. When you close your eyes, then what is the jyoti? What is it that which reveals? Dhihi. That is the intellect or the intelligence. Dhiyaha darshane kim jyotihi. So what reveals that intelligence? Tatra aham. That is my own self. Ataha bhavan paramakam jyotihi. That self is nothing but that supreme brilliance, that ultimate light, and that is tat asmi prabho. So that tat tvamasi aham brahmasmi. So that jyoti in all of us is that Bhagavan himself. This is again by Bhagavad Padacharya called Ekashloki. And next Bhagavan goes on to describe as the Prakriti is the cause to bring forth the effects and the instrument in the form of the body and the senses. The Purusha is the Kshetrajna, the individual soul, which is the cause for experience of pleasures, pain, joy, sorrow, etc. Now the Purusha seated in the Prakriti senses objects of the nature of the three gunas evolved from Prakriti. Like Bhagavan says, Daivi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. So this Maya, which has the three gunas, is the Prakriti, which is the cause for evolution. In the next chapter, 14th chapter, Bhagavan describes the three gunas. And Bhagavan says the consciousness in this body is the same as the Supreme. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha. Witness, supporter, sustainer, experiencer is all the same Bhagavan. So in Gopika Gitam, we have the same tattva being explained. So when the Gopikas, they go in search of Krishna at night and before the Rasa Leela, and they're filled with pride that Krishna is very close to us. We love Krishna and he loves us. Then Krishna wants to rid them of this ahankara and he suddenly disappears. And when he disappears, they sing a beautiful song called Gopika Gitam. In that one shloka, it is the ultimate tattva. So the Gopikas with sheer bhakti have attained that jnana. They say, Nakhalu Gopika Krishna Nandano Bhavan Akhila Dehinam Antaratmadrik Vikanasarthito Vishwaguptaye Saka Udehivan Satvatam Kule. So, hey Krishna, Gopika Nandanaha Bhavan, you are not just the son of Gopikas. Akhila Dehinam Antaratma. You are that very Atma which is there in all people. So look at the jnana attained by Gopikas through their sheer devotion. This same tattva which is here is expressed in that verse also. Further, Bhagavan goes on to describe that he alone who sees the Supreme Lord as imperishable and abiding in all perishable beings, both animate and inanimate. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu avinashyantam yaf pashyati sapashyati. In another verse, Bhagavan says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvanchamai pashyati. So we need to see that universal consciousness which is there in all beings equally. Bhagavad Padacharya also says, Tvai mai cha anyatra ekaha Vishnu. The same Vishnu is there in everyone. Vyartham kupyasi mayasa Hishnuhu. It is vyartham, useless for you to hate others because the same Ishvara is there in everywhere. That same principle. Further, Bhagavan goes on to say that being beginningless and without attributes, the indestructible Paramatma neither does nor gets tainted. And yatha prakashayati ekaha kritsnam lokam. Just as the sun illuminates the world, this kshetrajna, Bhagavan himself, illuminates the entire field. And he concludes this chapter by saying this difference between kshetra and kshetrajna may be pursued with the jnana chakshu, only the one who has that eye of jnana or wisdom, and they attain liberation and reach the supreme goal. So the next chapter, very much in brief, due to paucity of time, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. So we all know there are three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And all these three gunas are born out of Maya or Prakriti. And the attempt of the sadhaka and what Bhagavan also urges us is to become Gunatita. to go beyond the three gunas, beyond sattva guna also, and understand our true nature and attain Brahma Jnana. So here Bhagavan goes on to say that, and also in the 17th chapter, Bhagavan describes certain what is sattva sukha, what are the kinds of foods for sattva, rajas, tamas, etc. He again comes back, but we will not deal with that here. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam. So the sattva guna is immaculate, absolutely pure, illuminating and flawless. And through attachment, that is through sattva sukha, only attachments of the nature of sattva, it binds with wisdom. Jnana sangena cha anagha. Anagha, O sinless one, that is a reference to Arjuna. Then rajas, ragatmakam, it is in the nature of passion, and it is born out of desire and attachment. And it binds a jiva through attachment to actions and their fruit. So a person with predominance of Rajoguna undertakes a lot of action, but sakama karma, continuously in action. Maybe, we can all, when we read these verses, we can contemplate at each point of time, how are we like, becoming workaholics and excessively attached to what we are doing, fruits, we want this, we want to achieve this, these awards, etc. That is when we are passionate and our actions are guided by desire to achieve and not nishkama karma, that is born out of rajas. The tamas, born out of ignorance, and it induces error, sloth, sleep, and we lose the power of discretion or kritya viveka when we are overcome by the tamoguna. It is also characterized by alasya or inactivity, lethargy, drowsiness, nidra, etc. Now, sattvam sukhe sanjayati. Sattva drives one to sattvika joy, rajas to action, and obscuring wisdom. Pramade sanjayatyuta. Tamaha pramade sanjayatyuta. It induces error and sleep. Then further, Bhagavan goes on to say, then when sattva predominates, there is discretion, dispassion, and tranquility, a calm mind. When rajas predominates, there is restlessness, unrest, greed, craving for enjoyment, etc. When tamas predominates, there is predominance of lethargy, error, sleep, and faculty of judgment gets blurred. Then Bhagavan goes on to say, when there is preponderance of rajas, there is greed, activity, and undertaking of sakama karma. Further, when a person gives up this body, when there is a predominance of sattva, he attains ethereal or higher worlds. And when there is rajasi pralayam gatva, when a person leaves this body, when there is a predominance of rajas, remaining attached to the actions, then the person is born among those attached to actions and their fruits. And when there is a predominance of tamoguna, when the body is left, then it leads to birth in lower creatures. So this human birth, though it is an instrument to attain moksha, doesn't mean that once we attain human birth, we'll always have a human birth. Based on our actions, it can go back to plants, insects, animals, etc. So then Bhagavan says the reward for a righteous act performed in a dispassionate manner, that is nishkama karma, is sattvika. Whereas sorrow is the fruit of a rajasika act and ignorance the fruit of a tamasika act. Ajnanam tamasaf phalam. Sattvat jnanam sanjayate. So out of sattva is born jnana. So when we inculcate sattvic qualities, that is a state which helps us in further understanding our true nature and in this adhyatma jnana. Rajaso lobha evacha. Out of greed, out of rajas, greed and attachment are born. Tamasaha ajnanam evacha. Out of tamas, ajnanam or ignorance is born. The sattvasthaha urdhvam gachanti. The ones who are sattvic in their disposition go to urdhva lokas. Like we have the Brahmanda is in the form of an egg with 14 lokas. The bhuloka is in the middle, and above the urdhva lokas are satyaloka, janaloka, maharloka, svarloka, etc. And below bhuloka, the lower regions like atala, vitala, sutala, talatala, mahatala, patala, etc. And those with rajasic disposition are reborn in this mortal world as human beings. Those with tamasic disposition, they sink down into lower species. Then Bhagavan says, the seer, the drashta, he sees no other agent acting other than these three gunas. And such a person realizes me, the supreme consciousness, who is entirely beyond the three gunas, and he enters Bhagavan. Nanyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashta anupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodhi gacchati. So the senses, mind, etc. are all evolutes of the three gunas, acting on their own objects. And the drashta understands that he has no connection with them. So this is what is meant that by the word that perceiving no other agent other than the three gunas. And the Brahman is beyond the three gunas, and that is the state even a seeker needs to achieve. Gunatitasya uchyate, Bhagavan says further. Then Bhagavan says that having transcended the three gunas which have caused the body, etc., the soul attains supreme bliss. So even the sattva guna has to be transcended for self-realization. Then Bhagavan goes on to describe, in response to a question by Arjuna, the qualities of a person who is a gunatita. So such a sage neither has likes nor dislikes, and when these gunas spring up, the seeker is very indifferent towards them and does not get attached towards them. And he goes on to say that he is like a witness, udasinavat, asinaha, sitting, not disturbed by the three gunas. Gunaihi na vichalyate, gunavartanta ityeva yovatishtati nengate. He forever is established in the identity with Brahman. Then very beautiful verses, again very relevant. Favorite of my guru, she used to make us repeatedly chant these. Sama dukkha sukha svastaha sama loshtashma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatma samstutihi. Ever established in the self and being balanced and having equanimity in sukha and dukkha. Svastaha, sva is seated in your own self, that is in that state of the Brahman. Sama loshtashma kanchanaha regards a clod of earth, stone and gold as alike, and priya apriya tulyaha. So in both pain and pleasure, such a person is balanced and treats it with equanimity. Dhiraha. And he goes on to say, if we see, these are the qualities which Bhagavan has described previously also when he is describing about Sthita Prajna in the second chapter. Dukkheshvanu dvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspraha vita raga bhaya krodhaha sthitadihi muniruchyate. Similarly, in the 12th chapter, Bhakti Yoga, when Bhagavan is dealing with who is his favorite devotee, Priyaha, he says, Yo na hrishyati, na dveshti, na shochati, na kankshati, shubhashubha parityagi, bhaktimanyas same Priyaha. So Bhagavan is reiterating these qualities which are the qualities of a gunatita, and which all of us who are sadhakas, though we may not have attained that state, have to try and inculcate and work towards these qualities. Manapamanayoho tulyaha mitra aripakshayoho. Indifferent or equal in honor and dishonor or disgrace, and equal towards a friend or foe. Sarvarambha parityagi, renouncing the sense of doership in all undertakings. Such a person is said to have risen above the three gunas. So again, Bhagavan has said in another chapter, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tatkurushva madarpanam. Ahankara vimudhatma karta ahamiti manyate. Only when I have ahankara, I think I am the doer. But whereas a gunatita has renounced the sense of doership in all the undertakings, and he has realized that Brahmasthiti. Bhagavat Padacharya, again in his Mohamudgaram, he has a very beautiful verse, similar idea. Shatrau mitre putre bandhau makuru yatnam vigraha sandhau sarvasminnapi pashya atmanam sarvatrotsrija bheda jnanam. So in your friend, in foe, in everyone, give up that feeling of bheda, the difference, and see that Atman, the same universal consciousness, the same principle in everyone. So then you will see that samatva in all the people. And then Bhagavan goes on to say that he who with unwavering bhakti serves me, he transcends these gunas. Mame, in another verse, similar thing, Maya hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam taranti. Only with surrender and bhakti to Bhagavan can one transcend these three gunas. And Bhagavan says he is the ground of the imperishable Brahman. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Amritasya avyayasya cha, of immortality, of the eternal virtue. Shashvatasya, immutable, and Sukhasya ekantikasya cha, of unending bliss. So we have very little time. I know it's already been 45 minutes for the 15th chapter. Mahodaya, could I take like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to just briefly give the summary of 15th chapter? Is that okay? You are on mute.
You can take 5 minutes, but the thing is, otherwise, will you be able to join next week, next time, to complete on the 15th chapter? Because at the end part alone, because next week is next time it's going to be shorter time, so we'll get actually much more time than today. So that would be, if it is possible, it'll be great. Otherwise, you can take 5.
Yes, so next week, yes, sure.
Otherwise, we can stop the within 10 minutes. We can stop the talk today, and we'll not have too much of question answers, and that we can postpone it next week. Otherwise, you can take 10 minutes.
Whatever is conducive to you, because I am okay joining next week for 15th chapter. Or if you want
that
me
will
to,
be better. I think that'll be better, so that you can take more time. You can get more time next week.
Because
so let us do it next week.
We have Urdhva Moolam, Adhashakam, all very cryptic.
It is a fantastic chapter. So I think you are talking so beautifully. Really don't want you to restrict to 10 minutes. So maybe next week, next session would be ideal. You can take another 15-20 minutes on that alone, on this 15th chapter, and then we can allow the next other person to talk in the next. Will that be fine?
Yes, absolutely, Mahoday. Yes. And so let me conclude this. I rushed through the verses, so it is hard to curtail. There's so much to say, especially Bhagavad Padacharya has given us so much that even to succinctly describe it takes time. So thank you very much for this opportunity to Gita Jayanti Singapore. And whenever I'm asked to speak of Gita, I doubt what will I be able to say. It is such a it is a depth, it is an ocean, and so with such great depth. And then I think Mukam Karoti Vachalam, and Nimitta Matram, we are not speaking. It is Bhagavan who is giving the thought, and we are just Nimitta Matram. So to think that I am doing also is Ahankara. So it is only Gita Mata and the Gurus who guide. And my humble pranams to each one of you here. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you, Mahodaya.
It was such a fantastic talk, Brindaji. So I really feel really very sad to say that we have to cut short this wonderful lecture that I've been giving. So to take a little bit summary, so Brindaji talked a little bit, talked mainly on the basis of Shankara Bhashyam itself. So there is nothing better than that. And she talked quite a bit about verses 7 to 11, the qualities of Jnana itself, and its connection to Bhajagovindam, Mohapadgaram, and also Krishnatha Ratnamalika, like who is a guru, and having basically the idea is that not to have mamakara and have or no excessive attachments. And then she went on to talk about Sarvadapani Padandam with again its connection to Dhruvastudi, Yonda Pravishya Mamavachimam Suptam, so from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then she talked about the Ekasloki Bhagavatam, Ekasloki by Bhagavad Pada, Kim Jyoti, that verse. And then he also talked about Gopika Gitam and Akhila Antaratma is Lord Krishna, not just son of Nandagopa. And so here, what is very interesting is that today is actually Dvitiya of after the Sharad Purnima, and the Sharad Purnima is the day in which the Rasakrida has taken place. And so this today is actually just 2 days after this thing, and she very beautifully brought in the idea of Gopika Gitam here. So nothing can be more appropriate than linking Gopika Gitam also to the thoughts of Bhagavad Gita itself. And then she given a beautiful idea of it is foolish to hate another person as the same Vishnu is there in the other person also. So beautiful. And the idea of chapter 14 with the nature of Rajas, Tamas, Sattva and all that. And it is also that our actions will in this world will determine how where we will go to the next in the next birth. So these are all. It's very important how we act in this week in this world itself. And importantly, the ultimate message of chapter 14 or even the Bhagavad Gita itself is basically to transcend the three gunas itself and become a trigunatita. So that is the whole idea here. And as we discussed now, we didn't have time to talk about chapter 15 because it's unfair to talk, give only just 5 minutes for chapter 15. It's so important a chapter. So she has kindly consented, agreed to talk more on at the next session when we get more time, because next session we only have 54 verses to cover, so we get significantly more time than today. So thank you so much once again to Brindaji. So, and now we will get back to our rest of the thing for today. So we will go to the concluding mantras, and this will be done by Lataji. Lataji, you can go ahead.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantara Murtaye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nathaya Mahavishnave Swaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramartanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Kayena Vacha Manasendriyaiva Buddhyatmana Vat Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yadyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om. Om.
Thank you so much to Lataji for the beautiful concluding mantras. And now, so this actually ends today's session for today. Since it's already going to be 1 o'clock, we don't have time for question and answer session. So we'll try to have the question and answers in the next session, where we'll also have the rest of on the chapter 15 by Brindaji. And the next session is on 16th of October. November. So it should be 16th November 2024. So there is a third Saturday of November, and there will be the session session 8, and we will have the final session, that's the 9th session, because next on 16 November we'll have only chapter 16 and 17, so that's just 54 verses. So we'll get much more time to speak as well as have a question answer session. So we don't have to hurry too much today. And the final session will be on December 6th, the first week of December, because on December 11th is actually the Gita Jayanti day. So we will be having the last session will be on the first week of December, and the very next week will be the Gita Parayan, the final full Gita Parayanam at PGP Hall. So let me close the thing here. So if there are any other questions quickly or comments for 1 or 2 minutes, we can take. Otherwise, we will terminate the session for today. And so thank you so much. I don't think there is any questions yet. So thank you so much to Brindaji once again. So it is truly wonderful, and really we are very, very heartbreaking to ask you to stop. It is so bad. So I was very, very sorry for that. But anyway, the time is there. No Kalam, Kalos me. Bhagavan is Kala itself. So no other choice. And also our immense gratitude to Sri K.V. Raoji, who spoke beautifully at the beginning and gave a nice framework on the chapters 13, 14, and 15, and also about the idea of chanting itself. And also to all our wonderful elite chanters and all the participants who have participated today. So thank you so much once again. And we offer all these to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So Jai Shri Krishna. So see you all at the next session on 16th of November, the third Saturday of November. Jai Shri Krishna.